Manna and quail from heaven. Then the whole community of Israel set out from Elim and journeyed into the wilderness of Sin. Between Elim and Mount Sinai, they arrived there on the 15th day of the second month. After leaving the land of Egypt, there too the whole community of Israel complained about Moses and Aaron. If only the Lord had killed us back in Egypt, they mourned. There we sat around pots filled with meat and ate all the bread we wanted. But now you have brought us into this wilderness to start off all to death. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Look, I'm going to rain down food from heaven for you. Each day the people can go out and pick up as much as they need for that day. I will test them in this to see whether or not they will follow my instruction. On the sixth day, they will gather food, and when they prepare it, there will be twice as much as usual." So Moses and Aaron said to all the people of Israel, "By evening you will realize it the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. In the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your complaints, which are against him, not against us. What have we done that you should complain about us?" Then Moses added, "The Lord will give you meat to eat in the evening and bread to satisfy you in the morning, for he has to satisfy for he had heard all your what the 6 day Moses which are against him, not against us." All your complaints against him. What have we done? Yes, your complaints are against the Lord, not against us. Then Moses said to Aaron, "Announce this to the entire community of Israel. Present yourself before the Lord, for he has heard you complaining." As Aaron spoke to the whole community of Israel, they looked out toward the wilderness. There they could see the awesome glory of the Lord in the cloud. Then the Lord said to Moses, "I have heard the Israel's complaints. Now tell them, in the evening you will have meat to eat, and in the morning you will have all the bread you want. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God." Then evening vast numbers of quail flew in and covered the camp. And the next morning the area around the camp was wet with dew. When the dew evaporated, a flaky substance as fine as frostly baked the ground. The Israelites were puzzled when they saw it. "What is it?" they asked each other. They had no idea what it was. And Moses told them, "It is the food the Lord has given you to eat. These are the Lord's instructions. Each household should gather as much as it needs. Pick up 2 quarts for each person in your tent." So the people of Israel did as they were told. Some gathered a lot, some only a little. But when they measured it, everyone had just enough. Those who gathered a lot had nothing left over, and those who gathered only a little had enough. Each family had just what it needed. Then Moses told them, "Do not keep any of it until morning." But some of them didn't listen and kept some of it until morning. But by then it was full of maggots and terrible smell. Moses was very angry with them. After this, people gathered the food morning by morning, each family according to its need. And as the sun became hot, the flakes they had not picked up melted and disappeared. On the 6th day, they They gathered twice as much as usual, 4 quarts for each people instead of 2. Then all the leaders of the community came and asked Moses for an explanation. He told them, "This is what the Lord commanded. Tomorrow will be a day of complete rest, a holy Sabbath day set apart from the Lord. So bake or boil as much as you want today, and set aside with what is left for tomorrow." So they put some aside until morning. Morning, the leftover food was wholesome and good, without maggots or odor. Moses said, "Eat this food today, for today is Sabbath day dedicated to the Lord. There will be no food on the ground day. You may gather the food for six days, but the seventh day is the Sabbath. There will be no food on the ground that day." Some of the people went out anyway on the seventh day, but they found no food. The Lord asked Moses, "How long will these people refuse to obey my commands and instructions? They must realize that the Sabbath is the Lord's gift to you. That is why He gives you 2 days' supply on the sixth day. So there will be enough for 2 days. On the Sabbath day, you must each stay in your place. Do not go out to pick up food on the seventh day." So the people did not gather any food on the seventh day. The Israelites called the food manna. It was white like coriander seed, and it tasted like honey wafers. Then Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Fill a 2-quart container with manna to preserve it for your descendants. Then later your generation will be able to see the food I gave you in the wilderness when I set you free from Egypt." Moses said to Aaron, "Get a jar and fill it with 2 quarts of manna. Then put it in a sacred place before the Lord to preserve it for all future generations." Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He eventually placed it in the Ark of Covenant in front of the stone table inscribed with the term of the covenant. So the people of Israel ate manna for 40 years until they arrived at the land where they would settle. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. The container used to measure the manna was an omer, which was 1/10 of an ephah. It held about 2 quarts, water from the rock. At the Lord's command, the whole community of Israel left the wilderness of Sin and moved from place to place. Eventually, they camped at Rephidim, but there was no water there for the people to drink. So one more, the people complained against Moses. "Give us water to drink," they demanded. "Quiet," Moses replied. "Why are you complaining against me? And why are you testing the Lord?" But tormented by thirst, they continued to argue with Moses. "Why did you bring us out of Egypt? Are you trying to kill us, our children, and our livestock with thirst?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What should I do with these people? They are ready to stone me." The Lord said to Moses, "Walk out in front of the people, take your staff, the one you used, son of the elder of Israel, to join you. I will stand before you on the rock of Mount Sinai. Strike the rock, and water will come gushing out. Then the people will be able to drink." So Moses struck the rock as he was told, and water gushed out as elders looked on. Moses named the place Masha, which means test, and Meribah, which means arguing, because the people of Israel argued with Moses and tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord here with us or not?" Israel defeated the Amalekites. While the people of Israel were still at Rephidim, the warrior of Amalek attacked them. Moses commanded Joshua, "Choose some men to go out and fight the army of Amalek for us. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill holding the staff of God in my hand." So So Joshua did what Moses had commanded and fought the army of Amalek. Meanwhile, Moses, Aaron, and Hur climbed to the top of a nearby hill. As long as Moses held out the staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. But whenever he dropped his hand, the Arabs gained the advantage. Moses' arms soon became so tired he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. Then they stood on each side of Moses, holding up his hand, so his hand held steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army of Amalek in battle. After the victory, the Lord instructed Moses, "Write this down on a scroll of paper, permanent reminder, and read it aloud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar there, named it Yahweh Nis, which means the Lord is my banner. He said, "They have raised their fist against the Lord's throne. So now the Lord will be at war with Amalek generation after generation." Jethro visited to Moses. Moses' father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, heard about everything God had done for Moses and his people. The Israelites, he heard especially about how the Lord has rescued them from Egypt. Earlier, Moses had sent his wife Zipporah and his two sons back to Jethro, who had taken them in. Moses' firstborn was named Gershom. For Moses had said, "When the boy was born, I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." His second son was named Azir, for Moses had said, "The God of my ancestor was my helper. He rescued me from the sword of Pharaoh." Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, now came to visit Moses in the wilderness. He brought Moses' wife and two sons with him, and they arrived while Moses and the people were camped near the mountain of God. Jethro had sent a message to Moses saying, "I, Jethro, your father-in-law, am coming to see you, with your wife and your two sons." So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law. He bowed low and kissed him. They asked about each other's welfare, and they sent into Moses' tent. Moses told his father-in-law everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and Egypt on behalf of Israel. He also told about all hardship they had experienced along the way and how the Lord has rescued his people from all their trouble. Jethro was delighted when he heard about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel, and he rescued them from the hand of Egyptians. "Praise the Lord," Jethro said, "for he has rescued you from the Egyptian and from Pharaoh. Yes, he has rescued Israel for the powerful hand of Egypt. I would know now that the Lord is greater than all other gods, because he rescued his people from the operations of the proud Egyptians." Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifice to God. Aaron and all the elders of Israel came out and joined them in a sacrificial meal in God's presence. Jethro wise advice. And the next day, Moses took his seat to hear the people dispute against each other. They waited before him from morning till evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he asked, "What are you really accomplishing here? Why are you trying to do all this alone while everyone stands around you from morning till evening?" Moses replied, "Because the people come to me to get a ruling from God. When a dispute arises, they come to me, and I am the one who settled the case between the quarreling parties. I inform the people of God's decrees and give them his instruction. This is not good, Moses' father-in-law exclaimed. You're going to wear yourself out, and the people too. This job is too heavy a burden for you to handle all by yourself. Now listen to me, and let me give you a word of advice. May God be with you. You should continue to be the people representative res, repre, repe, representative before God, bringing their dispute to him. Teach them God's decrees and give them his instructions. Show them how to conduct their lives. But select from all people capable, honest men who fear God and hate bribes. Appoint them as leaders over a group of 1,150 and 10. They should always be available to solve the people's common disputes, but have them bring to the major case to you. Let the leader decide the smaller matters themselves. They will help you carry the load, making the task easier for you. If you follow this advice and if God commands you to do so, then you will be able to endure the pressures, and all these people will go home in peace. Moses listened to his father-in-law's advice and followed his suggestions. He chose capable men from all over Israel, appointed them as leaders from the people. He had put them in charge of group of 1,150 and 10. The men were always available to solve the people's common disputes. They brought the major cases to Moses, but they took care of the smaller matters themselves. Soon after this, Moses said goodbye to his father-in-law, who returned to his own land.